What's up, good people?
What's up, good people? It is your host, Hark Joseph L., CEO of Sons of S.P. Phillips, and I want to welcome you to the Elephant Wisdom Podcast, where we dive into meaningful discussions on personal growth, social innovation, and the wisdom that shapes our communities. Today, we're taking on a powerful topic, one that could be life-changing for those looking to rebuild their lives after serving their time and re-entering society. Joining us today is Ms. Tomiqua Perry, the founder of Perry Logistics. Tomiqua is a leader in logistics and dispatching, and she has an inspiring vision for creating a specialized dispatching course tailored for individuals with a criminal record who are navigating the journey back into the workforce. She believes that logistics holds incredible potential for personal growth, financial stability, and even entrepreneurship for those ready for a fresh start. Before we begin this episode, we got to let you know this episode is brought to you by none other than Sons of S.P. Phillips. Go to www.sonsofspphillips.com where you can get new and slightly used clothing and apparel for men and women, restyle fedora brim hats, custom t-shirts, and more. Go to www.sonsofspphillips.com. Get 15% off your first purchase. Any purchase over $45 gets free shipping. Sons of S.P. Phillips, where we're giving style and attitude a dress code. So we are back here on the Elephant Wisdom Podcast with my good friend, Miss Tomiqua Perry. And how are you today?
I am doing all right, sir.
Good.
Glad to be sitting on your couch again.
Good. Down here in the Elephant Room Studios.
Yes. Is this my second or third venture with you? Second, I think.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
Good.
It's a good day.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always a good thing.
Likewise.
Yes. The last time I spoke with you was on a different conversation. It was very insightful. That was on the Thursday podcast with her and Hark Henry. Very good conversation. Got a lot of feedback on that.
Yep. I happened to listen to that podcast probably about 2 months ago because Facebook likes to remind us of what we've been doing in life.
Yeah.
And you came up on a memory and I was like, wow. And I did listen to that and I just took some satisfaction in the amount of growth that has occurred over the past couple of years since that conversation. So,
right.
Yeah, we're always growing.
Right. And yeah, and I enjoy this podcast space because I can look back on past podcasts and I can see the growth of how we've grown creatively and how my friends have grown in their space personally and emotionally and things of that nature. So podcasting is a great thing here, and I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy doing it with my friends because you learn a lot about people, especially when they want to come back around.
Yeah.
Because things change.
Yeah.
Things change.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I appreciate your platform, Joe.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. So, Tomiqua, on the Elephant Wisdom Podcast, I know you're new to this. This is a little bit different than the Thursday podcast. So, on the Elephant Wisdom Podcast, we are all about motivation, inspiration, and the domination of each day. And we are pushing people.
The domination of each day.
Each day is made to dominate.
I like that. Yeah. Don't sit by idle.
Don't. That's right.
And get the shit done.
That's right.
Okay.
And we tell them, dominate or don't. It's up to you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this podcast started, the idea of this podcast started on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just making little quotes, making up Elephant Wisdom number 351 and just making little quotes. And then at the end, I say, dominate or don't. It's up to you. And it was picking up a little steam. And I said, hey, I think this would be a good podcast.
Yeah, this is a good concept.
Yeah. So
because we all have a choice.
Yeah.
How involved are you going to be in your own life?
Right.
Are you going to let life you?
Right.
To death?
Yes.
Or are you going to have some skin in the game?
That's right. Right.
It's one or the other.
Right.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And also I put it out there for people who are unhappy with life. Like if you're working a job you're not happy with, dominate. Go do something else.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah. Especially after COVID.
Yes, because that was terrifying.
Yeah.
What we went through.
Yeah.
It's a good segue we got going on here.
We do. We do. I'm getting good at this. Yeah. Made people think.
It did. And I guess I don't even think I really noticed this until we're talking about it right now, but there's a great division going on from COVID for people who really dug their heels into corporate America.
Yep.
And using that once again as a security blanket. Yep. Once, all the stuff was lifted and then there's the other side of us who were like, fuck this. Yeah. Pardon my French, people. Hey. But I'm going to find a way to create some income for myself because then it has a lesser chance of being snatched away.
Right.
I saw something different while we were going through COVID. I saw something that terrified me even more than the actual illness that was circulating.
Right. And I've had conversation with my friends. I say, and I use the term loosely because of the things that happened. I say COVID was a gift and a curse. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate the things that happened. Mm-hmm. But just like the things that you alluded to, look what's happened. People say, I've got to go do something for myself.
Yeah.
And we are still feeling the effects of COVID because some businesses are still shutting down. And then on the other side, we have inflation now because these businesses are raising prices for the money they lost in COVID. So the curse of it is still lasting.
Yeah.
But people are making their own businesses and they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And there's ways to do it.
And then folks that had the opportunity to realize how convenient and in my eyes, more productive it is to be able to. And you have a whole new generation of folks that are really bucking against the traditional idea of work and how that can come about, right? How the productivity can actually happen.
Yes.
And I'm seeing a lot of that myself. I mean, with what I do. And then just the amount of work from home positions that you see out here now, and people really wanting that flexibility and what's the word, autonomy, to be able to work from their home office in a pair of sweats with a cup of coffee comfortably, rather than having to spend money on fuel to commute, spend money on lunch, spend money on clothes to be appropriately dressed in the office that you have to go into. There's just so much. There's just so much more that goes into getting up and going into an office every day that you did not realize until COVID.
Yeah.
And then you're being told, go home and work.
Yeah.
Go home and work, and we're going to pay you still.
Yep.
Don't leave your house and get real comfortable. And now you're saying, no, that doesn't work for us anymore.
Right.
And some folks are like, I don't want to be yo-yoed around. Yeah. Actually, that really does work for me. So I don't know what company it was not too long ago where half their staff was they said either come back to the office. If you don't, then you forfeit any chance of promotion. And some crazy number of people opted to stay home. Yeah. Screw your promotion. I don't want your promotion.
Yeah.
I want to stay home and work from home. This is ideal for me and my family. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through that right now. I've been looking for work, and everything I've been looking for has been remote. And when I look at the job that I had versus the job that I want and that I can get doing the exact same thing, the pay is double, almost triple what I can make working from home, working from anywhere in the U.S. I don't have to necessarily be at home.
And that's why it's so convenient.
It is.
That's why. So that level of freedom is woo.
Yeah.
It is something that I will not trade.
Right.
I will not sacrifice it.
Because there's been a few times I worked, I think I worked from North Carolina. I think I worked from Vegas.
In Jacksonville, Florida at the Holiday Inn because that was where the best reception was at.
Yeah.
And then put my laptop away and went downstairs and got in their hot tub. And this is in the middle of my workday with my phone right there, Siri.
Yeah. That
kind of freedom I will not give up.
Yeah. And even when we first started working from home, we had a lot of problems with our house. Roof, cable, water lines. we were able to be here instead of waiting from 10 to 2. We'll be there.
Absolutely.
We were here to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to take off and waste all that PTO.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Work from home is where it's at. And if not, like I said, we'll do our own thing and we'll keep on trucking. Yeah. So tell us what you've been up to, Tomiqua.
What year was it that I was here last? Was it 22 or 21?
Probably 22.
22, I was 2 years into independent freight dispatcher.
Okay.
And in 2020, I was working the political campaigns. It was election season.
Yeah.
We had just elected Biden.
Yes.
When COVID hit.
Yep.
And I was on the Mike Bloomberg campaign.
Okay.
And so when Biden became the Democratic nominee, that campaign issue-based work. They required me to have to go door to door and talk to the constituents about the issues and encourage them to go vote.
Okay.
Well, COVID hits February, I think it was 2020 is when it really, really hit.
Yep.
And third, the organization I was working with until your contract is up.
Right.
And we were all freaked out. Like, what the hell? What do we do now? So things went on that allowed me to kind of sit in that and get paid and figure out what I wanted to do next. The fear of my livelihood being taken away because of what was happening really had me thinking, what am I going to do?
Right.
So I started doing research on COVID-proof and recession-proof industries. And while I'm doing that research and while I'm waiting for God to guide me on what I should be doing next so that I'm not living in a space of fear, a friend of mine kept asking me if I was interested in buying or going in on a 18-wheeler. And it did trigger something in me, not in a bad way, but it inspired something, like the seed was planted.
Right.
But the idea of buying that equipment and then I just felt like the industry was too big for me to wing it, to just jump in. So I was like, I don't know anything about logistics or the transportation industry. I think that it would not be wise for me.
Right.
So I started doing what I do when I'm looking for the message to come through, which is I started talking to people and putting it out there, the information about seeking information about the industry so that I understood how to get in. I had an accountant at the time who was like, I'm going to set you up with one of my other clients. He had been driving truck for about 15 years. And she was like, I think you should talk to him. And I'm like, okay, because it keeps coming my way. CDL. So I talked to this dude. The consult lasts for 3 hours. At the end of the 3 hours, he's like, I think that what you should do is get into the industry as either a freight dispatcher or a broker. And I said, well, what's the difference? And he broke down the difference for me and essentially what it would take to get into the industry as either. I chose freight dispatching because there was minimal liability and minimal overhead to get into. I found a course online from a lady that had been in the industry for years. She owned equipment and she dispatched for herself. She taught a class. I took her class. This was in February of 2020.
Okay.
And nope, it was later on in the year. It was toward the end of the year. So I think it was like December of 2020. And within a week's time, Spirit started guiding me.
Right.
Reach out to this person, reach out to that person, reach out to this person. And these are people that I already had relationships with in a different arena when I was doing event coordinating. And I linked up with these folks, and we hadn't talked all year long, maybe even longer, and they were buying trucks. And so by the time I got out of class, I had my first client. And I hit the ground running, and I fell in love with the industry.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing for the past 4+ years now, is working as a dispatcher or a logistics coordinator. I've done some accounting work with some brokerages, and then I teach a dispatching course. And I am definitely walking in my intended purpose. What is going to come of it? I feel like that's what is happening right now.
Okay.
But over the past few years, what I've learned is that it's there's so much money in the industry, and it's very satisfying work if you are detail oriented, really organized. If you like to have a couple different things going at the same time, if you like to multitask, and if you like to earn good money helping decent people out, because I work with independent carriers.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
All new passion, but really like the same from what I've been doing all these years. Like if it's not in this industry, than it was in the political industry. If it wasn't in the political industry, it was in the entertainment and arts industry. I've always been an aid to the client, whoever that is. So I'm here to help, however that needs to be. I'm a helpmate for your team, so
right.
for whatever it is that you're trying to do. But all of it is geared towards how can we make this money? How can we increase the revenue for what it is that we got going on?
Okay.
So some people are like, you've been all over the place. And I'm like, not really. If you think about what I've been doing, it's got a similar theme, which is that I am able to lead,
right.
in a sense of a word, and organize, and I complement what's already going on. You have an idea, you want to bring it to fruition, you bring me in, and I'm going to actually bring it to light for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, how I went from doing community work to doing insurance, getting to corporate America. And I tried to explain to them that even though they're two different fields of work in the workforce, I still do the same thing. I'm still doing work. I'm still building relationships. As working in the community or working in the classroom, I have to build this relationship with this student or his family for them to learn or to give them what they need.
Yeah.
So, once I left that field and I got into insurance, I still had that same feeling of teaching and relationship building, because people don't know squat about insurance. And as an insurance broker or whatnot, there's a lot of relationship building in that position.
Yes.
And trust.
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying when you're saying, no, I'm still, you're all over the place. Like, no, I'm still doing what I feel.
Yeah.
Just because you think I'm doing this.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm doing because you're in my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing what I feel, what I'm led to do.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this forever. I'm doing what I feel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good concept.
I show up for folks.
Right.
I do. I show up for folks, and that's I believe that's one of the main reasons why I've been successful in this industry. They understand. She's the truth.
Yeah.
Very consistent and genuine, and then to having a good business sense. I'm not gonna.
Right.
In the same breath, though, I'm gonna be honest about what I see going on too, and how that's hurting us. So, yeah. It's definitely it's purposeful work, and it is gratifying.
Yeah, since you've been in it, I've known you, I say, like, because I want to be in something where I can be like, hey, you know what? Let me get up and I want to move here. Let me go move. I mean, you prepare for it, but you're in that position where you can do that and still not lose a beat, or not lose a whole lot of coins doing it.
Yep.
And then even in that same breath, you did that for a while, and you was like, you know what? I'm too far from family. Let me come on back home.
See, and God is funny, because God will make will make the inspiration touch you in different parts, because God knows what will really make her move, what will really make her, how do I light this fire under her ass, right? Because I'm down south living my best life.
Right.
And really enjoying being there. And I liked what I had set up there. But again, I'm obedient. I don't not listen anymore, because that don't get you anywhere, and I know that. So I'm not hard-headed anymore when it comes to when God is saying, hey, this is it. And the time down south was more of a spiritual growth and a spiritual journey than anything else. So once that journey, not that it ever ends, but that chapter of the particular journey, whatever was supposed to happen was done.
Yeah.
Most High started putting it in my spirit, what's next business wise. Because I was down there chilling.
Yeah.
I'm booking, I'm teaching, and I'm working a gig that's 100% remote. I'm not worried about anything. I'm sleeping good. I'm not making any major moves. I'm just taking the time to heal. So once I'm through that, and Most High is like, okay, Spirit's like, okay, now it's time. Started putting books in my path and,
Right.
different pieces of information. Like, not only do I want to help you become as financially secure as possible, but I'm giving you the combination now.
Right.
The right mixture of you walking the path that I have with your work ethic, with the knowledge, with the passion,
Right.
with the community that needs it.
Right.
So now that all those things have lined up, I'm going to give you everything you want. But you got to do this work.
Yep.
Don't deviate, right? Not too long ago, Most High let me know, like, everything I've been asking for and working for is coming. But when it does arrive, I bet not forget God. Bet not forget God in the process.
Yep.
And there's been a slow trickle since I've been like, okay, be obedient. Walk away from your position. I got something else. Now do this. I got something else for you. Okay, cool. Don't worry about bills. Take this money. Go do this. Now you're good. You ain't got to worry about this. Do this work now. I got this coming for you. Like, ever since that's been going on, I'm like, okay, you're gearing me up.
Right.
And let me not fall into I don't even know if the word secular is what I want to use, but like that very surface level materialistic, that's not where I need you to be.
Right.
As you see the success, I need you to stand strong in the spiritual space and do the work that's intended. I'll snatch it from you again.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing that. So I'm like, all right, let me stay focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah. Right. Right. Totally understand that. Totally understand that. Because if you're not obedient, there's no point in him blessing you.
You'll get left out in the cold again.
Sure
and God will not ever forget you or ever forsake you or any of those things. I believe that. But you will see some tough love.
Yeah.
That looks like forsaking
Right.
and have been forgotten.
Yeah.
That feels that way, right? If you don't listen.
Right.
And I've been there enough times that I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to deal with no kind of abandonment issues when it comes to you, God. I'm good because I'm being hard-headed.
Right. And it's kind of like it's the tough love thing you said. And God is like, all right, you don't want to listen? Fine. I'll let it happen the way it's supposed to happen then.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll let it happen the way that what I've been protecting you from.
Yeah.
What I've been directing you from. You want to go on out there, go ahead.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let you go, and whatever will come about will happen.
Yeah.
And you'll still be picked back up, and you'll be fine. But it's like I'm tired of the detours.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I don't want no more detours.
Yeah.
Right, because of my own doing, because of my own ego. I don't want no more detours because of that. So I'm like, if you want to send me on a detour, it's because that's your will, not because it's part of another lesson I have to learn because I haven't been listening correctly. And sometimes that's hard to like recognize. You really gotta. I don't think there's a time that I don't consult with God first about what I'm doing anymore. Yeah. As small as which Kroger's to go to get your wife the flowers today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just listen instead of being so arrogant to think that I could do it all on my own. You know what I mean? Like, and then you end up in an accident or something like that. It's just, you just don't know. So just listen.
Yeah. See, it's the reason why you're here today. And I think it's beyond this podcast. And whoever listens to this podcast after they hear your message, they're going to figure it out. And once we go upstairs and fellowship,
mm-hmm.
and eat this fish.
It's feed me.
Yeah, we take care of our guests here, but there's definitely something here brewing today. But I can feel it, and like you said, your spirit of leading and your spirit of teaching is all in here because you're professing some things here, and this is why this is the Elephant Wisdom Podcast. Mm-hmm. So, do us one thing. So, I know that you said you did some research on logistics and dispatching. Mm-hmm. Break it down for people who don't exactly know what it is. Because I know you said, somebody said, hey, let's get this truck, let's do this, and let's do this. Mm-hmm. And you said set up some stuff. So break it down for those who don't exactly know what it is.
The logistics end of it, the dispatching. What dispatching is?
Yes.
Okay, so the supply chain is, I always say the consumer is at the top of the chain.
Yes.
We demand product.
Yes.
Then it is manufactured.
Yes.
Then it is, it goes to different warehouses where it needs to be shipped out.
Yes.
It's shipped out by way of 75% of the product in the country is moved by truck.
Yes.
And that truck is usually what you see on the freeway, those big 18-wheelers with the trailers.
Yes.
You might see a flatbed that's carrying machinery or cars. Mm-hmm. You could do a double-decker where you see all the cars that are stacked up. Mm-hmm. You might see a box truck, which is just a smaller semi, basically. It's half the size. Either way, all these pieces of equipment are moving everything we need that makes our life so convenient.
Right.
From the shipper, the truck goes, the freight goes on a truck, and then it's delivered to another warehouse that's considered the receiver.
Right.
And then from the receiver, it's going out to all the stores. And then from all the stores, that's where the consumer comes back in again.
Okay.
So the consumer is capping both ends of the supply chain. Mm-hmm. The demand by the consumer, and then it is consumed by us, like we purchase it.
Right.
Right? So demand and supply. Or supply and demand. In there are huge trucking companies that have several trucks that move freight. There are smaller trucking companies that also move freight, independent carriers. These are small business owners, entrepreneurs, CDLA license holders that decide to go into business for themselves. They carry a lot of the freight too, and there's a lot of money in that if it's done correctly. Those businesses really do thrive. Independent freight dispatchers, which is what I am and what I teach the course in, represent the carrier. They're a part of the carrier's team. So the small business truck owner, the truck owner, the small business owner that owns one or two pieces of equipment or one or two pieces of trucks, one or two trucks, is going to bring on a dispatcher at some point in their evolution as a business owner. And the dispatcher's job is to find freight and the spot market freight arena, which is on these load boards where you can pay for a subscription, have access to all this freight. These brokers who work directly with the shipper to get the freight moved are going to work with the dispatcher as well. So the dispatcher is building relationships with the broker, and every day the dispatcher gets up and they go on these load boards. The number one board that anybody would ever even remotely kind of know if you're not in the industry is the DAT board, DAT. This is the biggest load board to be used, followed by a couple others, but this is the main board. You pay a subscription to have access to this board, and you go in and you find your freight for whatever state that your truck is in. And then you can build a relationship with the brokers as you're booking this freight. And the point is to get to the goal is to get to the point where you don't have to do the load boards. You don't have to pay for the subscriptions. Or if you do, it's just a backup because you have built such great relationships with the broker as an independent freight dispatcher that the brokers are reaching out to you in the morning so that you can get their freight moved before you even have to worry about booking. And that's what's ideal about it. Now, say you're an independent freight dispatcher and you have 3 clients that are growing their fleet. These are not people that work for the same company. These are 3 separate trucking companies that have brought you on to dispatch their freight or their fleet. And they all have 1 truck. And you're booking their 1 truck, whether it's a semi or a box truck or a flatbed, consistently every week. And say they have a goal of $5,000 a week. You're able to book that freight easily. Easily, people. Not hard. Not hard at all. If you have all the things lined up like you need to, then you can book this freight easily day in and day out. I'm saying it because I do it. I've done it. I do it. It's not hard to do. It's not. You just have to know what you're doing. So once you get an idea, and we'll talk more about how you can get that idea, you book your freight. And you're charging anywhere from 5 to 10% per load for each load that you book. So for the sake of easy numbers, you have 3 trucks. They each need to hit $5,000 a week. And because you're booking and you're doing a little bit other freight or other work for them, maybe you're dealing with their invoicing or what have you, you've negotiated 10% off of each load. Well, if 1 truck hits $5,000 in a week, which is feasible, you're making $500 that week off that 1 truck. You have 3 trucks, that's $1,500 a week. Easy. Now, not every week is going to be like that. Some weeks it might only be 25. Some weeks it might be 38. Some weeks it might be 42. The point is, the more you hustle and you make sure that your clients are getting what they need, the easier it is for you to create a paycheck for yourself from anywhere in the world.
Right. Okay.
So that's what I've been doing. That was a lot. I know.
No.
That's what I've been doing, though. That's what I've been doing, is learning how to do that, getting really good at it. And I created a curriculum 2 years ago, and I've been teaching how to do this ever since. And that's really where the passion comes in. Okay. I like the work. I like working with small businesses a great deal. I like seeing them prosper. I even like some of the situations that I've had that I knew were going to fail because they didn't have like some key components lined up in order to succeed. But it was lessons learned in order for me to really shape the information I wanted to put out there to tell people how to do this successfully.
A lot of people signing up for your classes?
Yeah, it just depends on what's going on. It depends on a couple different things. It depends on how hard I'm pushing it, how hard I'm pushing the class itself.
Right.
And then it depends on, just like, pick of the draw. Sometimes I only have 1 or 2 people in a class per month. Because right now I do a live course once a month. But I just created an e-course for people that want to take it themselves at their own pace, because sometimes folks don't have the time to sit down with me for 2 hours a night, 5 days a week, which is what it takes to take the live course.
Right.
So I do the live course once a month now. Sometimes it's only 1 or 2 people, which is cool. Sometimes it's 15, and that's my max. So it just depends on, how much marketing I'm doing and how many people are biting, what time of year it is. Because Christmas is not really, the holidays are not a good time. I see it slows down.
Right.
But by the time tax time comes around, the top of the year comes around, that's my busiest time. January, February, March is my busiest time to teach, but it's the slowest time in the industry because of the weather.
Okay.
Because it's after the holidays.
Okay. And how much is you charge for each course?
The live course is $449.
Okay.
And then the e-course is $299.
All right.
And it comes with like workbook, everything that you need, a workbook and a sample document workbook, stuff that you can take away with you. And then when you complete it, you get a resource email where I give you everything that you need to set your own business up. Everything you need, from where to go to set up your LLC to how to recruit your drivers, and the networking that you need to get into, and the groups on social media that you need to be getting into, and your marketing, where I got my logo done and who did my flyers, and everything that I use to get myself going. I pass all that information on at the end of the course, whether they take it live or they take it through the e-course. Right. And then you get a certificate of completion. And mind you, you don't need to be certified to become a dispatcher.
Mm-hmm.
You can just learn the trade and then go out. And if you have the hustle, I tell people this all the time, I can teach you how to do the work. I cannot teach you the hustle. You have to be born with that.
Right.
You have to want it to go get it, you know. But if you have that hustle and you're willing to do the work to build up your clientele, it took me like 103 days to get 3 trucks going when I first started. So, you know, and I like that timing because it gave me 30 days for each truck to like learn my client, learn how they work, for me to be able to show them the attention they needed so they could gain the faith and trust in me that I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to, because you're working from wherever.
Right.
And half the time you don't know these people from anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? You both are just going into it blindly with a trust that business ethics is a thing, you know, morals is a thing. There's some discipline here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to show each other. So 30 days in between each truck was good for me.
Okay.
Yeah. My max was like 6 trucks. That's too much. I wasn't peeing or drinking or anything during the day. I was just sitting in front of the computer looking geeked out, trying to find loads and stuff because you got to have 6 trucks moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want anybody sitting for too long. So my sweet spot is 3.
Okay. Now, the course you're teaching that you're offering now, because you have an idea or a course set up for felons who are going to reenter society, gentlemen who served their time and are going to reenter to society. The course wasn't
designed specifically for that community. It was designed for anybody that wants to learn the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to serve that community specifically.
Okay.
Because of the clients that I have worked with, all had a record and all saw success in this industry.
Okay.
They were able to clear 6 figures in their first year with me as their dispatcher, having a record. I mean, just coming home from doing bids like 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
Able to come out. Now, how they got their seed money, not my business.
Yeah.
That's not my business.
Yeah.
That's not my business. But you're coming to me with a piece of equipment and all the credentials you need from the DOT to move freight. I'm going to help you move the freight.
Right.
And I have a soft spot for that community because I love us, you know. And another conversation again, but there's just a lot that is geared toward making sure specific folks end up in that position.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So I want to combat that in some kind of way.
Yeah.
With this work. Right? Like, Joe, I don't even, if somebody would, if you and I had talked 18 months ago when God was placing this vision in my spirit to create the e-course, to relaunch my website, to come home and to start finding nonprofit organizations that have reentry programs, linking with me, I didn't know that's what this was about. God is only revealing what I'm supposed to be doing a couple weeks at a time, literally.
Right.
So, like, have I always had a soft spot for brown and black people, specifically brown and black men, and want to see them succeed? Yes. Yes, on some kind of level. Did I always know how to help? No. But could I see it? Yes, that we talked about that in the last conversation you and I had.
Yeah.
The love, you know, and that passion, right? So, like, me coming into this industry and meeting these men and hearing their stories, because when I vet a client and they vet me, we're on the phone for at least an hour, that initial conversation.
Right.
And what I'm asking is, I mean, we're going to go over the things that we need to go over in order to get going, but I want to know what the vision is. And then once you tell me what the vision is, I want to know where that stems from. What has inspired the vision? And then when you share that with me, if it's touching me like most of the stories have, I'm going hard for these people because I want to see that come to light too.
Right.
And it has worked. It has worked, and I've seen some great results, and I've built some really, really great relationships.
Right. Because it's hard when we see our brothers and sisters who are coming out, the support system is light, you know, and there's not a lot for us out there anyway. So we have to start creating some kind of support system for us.
Yeah.
I can recall a time I tried to come up with an idea when I was first learning this whole media thing, I was trying to come up with an idea similar to what you were doing in the school I was in. And they said, yeah, that sounds good, but in so many words, they said, no, it won't work, because when the people that are sitting next to him find out you got a convicted felon next to him, people get jumpy and iffy. But I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to be. We're supposed to support each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, some of these people who in here anyway, they look like they need to be in there anyway. But,
right.
because you just got people coming off the streets anyway.
Right.
And nobody really needs to give up that information. But, sometimes people don't shy away from their past.
Yeah.
They want to get past it.
Yeah.
So, I admire you for what you're trying to do. And I've got other friends who do the same thing, who extend themselves to give people coming out of prison, out of jail, another lease on life.
Yeah.
To get away from where they were.
Yep.
Yeah, because if they don't have that support, they go right back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go back to what you know.
Yeah.
All the time.
They say, you're doing the research. We did some research today, because we knew we were going to talk about this,
right.
But there's a number out there. It's 68% of released prisoners are arrested for a new crime within 3 years. I wanted to know what those statistics were for 3 years, because it takes about 3 years for a new trucking company to get to the point where they're seeing a solid profit, where they have grown their fleet to at least 3 pieces of equipment, if not sooner. So if this information is given to those same 68% of released prisoners, and they decide to go this route instead, and within 3 years they're now making 6+ figures and they're able to take care of themselves and their families, versus them going back into the prison system, why are we not working to get these people this information?
Right.
I mean, even at the basic level, like, I dispatch. Okay, so you come out of prison, you want to get your CDLs. In the meantime, you need to earn a living and you need to learn this industry. Why would you not want to become a freight dispatcher, so that you can learn from the ground up, work remote, circumvent any issues or hurdles you're going to come across trying to find a job, and get into this industry like this,
Right.
So it's like piecing it all together. There's like a few different components or puzzles that are out here floating around. But if you bring them all together, then you all of a sudden have like this story that's like, oh, this could really help some folks.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pull all that together.
Right. Right. I've got a couple friends who are in the trucking industry, and they post on Facebook all the time, and they are doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could do it because I don't like to drive, but they are doing pretty good. I got a buddy. He's like, every day he's driving state to state. And I'm like, bro, why are you driving so much? He said, I'm trying to buy a house this year.
Yeah.
And that's just the earning potential is what he's working on.
It's, if you, on the low end, you're making $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
As a driver. On the low end, you're making $50,000 a year as a dispatcher. Mm-hmm. On the high end, you're making $80,000 to $120,000 a year as a driver, about $68,000 to $72,000 a year as a dispatcher. Mm-hmm. For yourself,
right?
Why would you not?
Almost easy money.
It's the most easy money,
right?
It's the most easy money. So, yeah, I just want to connect the dots. That's it. I mean, obviously, I want to continue to earn a solid living myself, but before we started talking, I don't even know if we were recording, but we were just talking about how when things line up, a couple different things line up as far as you understanding why you're here and what your purpose is, right, but also wanting to also experience the financial security that most of us really crave, right? Plus the freedom and stability that all this brings about, right? Like all of that I see happening for myself because I'm leading with the purpose behind the work versus how can I make a financial come up. Right. Right. The priority is to help the people. The priority is to be obedient, to do God's work. And then God will take care of everything else beyond that.
Right. Good information. So what type of skills would it take to be a freight dispatcher? So somebody like me, I'm an introvert. I have an introverted personality. This sounds like this would be an ideal job for me, especially as somebody who likes to work from home. I don't like working in the office. I want to be left alone. And then again, on the other side, I want to have my own free time. I like the flexibility. Mm-hmm. What's the skill set that I probably need to work on to be successful in this job?
I think for anybody, the first thing is going to be make sure you're disciplined enough to get up and treat this like a 9 to 5, because the industry itself operates Monday through Friday from 7 to 5 p.m., 7 to 6 a.m., or 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you have to be up and talking to your brokers and sitting in your work area and looking on the boards and posting your truck and doing all the things that need to be done, sending out an email to let your brokers know where the truck is at, 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Right.
And you're going to have your trucks booked by most days no later than 2 p.m.
Okay.
And then from there, you just need to be able to talk on the phone with whomever is calling to check on your freight. You know, so if a broker needs to talk to you or your driver has something going on, you need to be able to answer those calls and stop doing what you're doing to like handle a situation if there's a fire burning. So being disciplined, being able to multitask, being able to hold a conversation. And I say that like, who can't hold a conversation, but you would be surprised how people really choke up on the phone when they have to talk to people about business, you know?
Right.
You want to be comfortable, you know, with being able to do that. You have to have a thick skin in this industry because people that don't will get ate alive. There's not a lot of patience when it comes to this freight, and it's very urgent. You could be moving pallets of toilet paper. Everybody's ass in the world obviously needs it because this broker has lost his mind, and he's called you 17 times to figure out where the freight is at, although it's on tracking and he can see clearly where the truck is at, and he's just, you know, there's so much money involved with what's going on that it gets really intense. So you want to have a thick skin. You know, you don't want to take things personally. That was really hard for me when I first started, you know, especially being a woman in a male-dominated industry, specifically being a black woman with a name like Tomiqua spelled with an I-Q-U-A.
Yeah. Like, what is this?
They don't know how to say my name, and then they just automatically assume that I don't have an education or any couth or any class or anything like that. So you just want to have a thick skin. You want to be able to like let shit roll off your shoulders. You want to be organized. You want to have a solid work ethic. You definitely want to have some morals. Yep. Because you're going to have access to these people's information. And a lot of the information is made public record with the DOT, the Department of Transportation. But if you're the one that's doing their invoicing and everything, you're going to have bank information. You're going to have information to their insurance, access to their insurance information. And not that you could screw up, but you could. I mean, these people are trusting you with their info. Yeah. So be a solid person, you know, a solid individual. And then really, again, I can't even emphasize anymore the organization of it all. Right. Because it's so many documents that you're dealing with. Right. And everything is digital. There's very rare that you're going to be printing anything off unless that's how you want to keep track of your paperwork. But other than that, you need to be able to, you know, keep track of everything, you know, and be passionate about what you're doing. Okay. Because these are people, this is somebody's livelihood that they're putting in your hands. And as a dispatcher, it's very important that you understand how to read the market, how to build relationships with the broker, and how to negotiate. If you do not know how to negotiate, like very simple negotiation skills. Right. Like, don't ask for what you really need. Ask for more so you can end up where you really need. Right. Type stuff, you know? Go high. It's Meet like between. Go high so you can get where you need to be. Right. So, you want to be able to negotiate that money. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this question. So, with you being Ohio, are all the truckers or the clients you're booking, are they all in Ohio, or can you book in any state? No, you can, as long as the carrier that you're booking for has a DOT number and an MC number from the Department of Transportation, then they can move freight across state lines. Okay. So when you're dealing with your brokers and you're dealing with the load boards where you pay a subscription to have access to where all the freight is at, you can put your filters in for whatever city that your truck is in, and you can find the freight. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that's not difficult. But if they don't have a a DOT and an MC, that's called their authority.
Okay.
If they don't have their authority with both the MC number and the DOT number, which is given by the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Safety Carrier Association, in partnership with the Department of Transportation, issues out an MC and a DOT number for those that want to carry freight across their state line, their home state line. If they only have their DOT number, they can only move freight within the state.
Okay.
So you want to deal with people as far as building your clientele. You don't, well, unless you're in Texas. Texas is a pretty big state, so you can just move freight within state lines in Texas and still make the kind of money you would going over the road because of how big the state is. But otherwise, you want to deal with clients that have the ability to drive. The more availability they have, the less restriction, the easier it is for the dispatcher to book the freight.
Okay.
But if you have a client that's like, I'm in Ohio, and I only want to go to Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan, and PA, and I got to be home every Wednesday and every Saturday, can you do something for me? Well, I could, but I'm not going to stress about it, so no, I'm not going to take that client on. You know, open me up a little bit. Can you just not be home on Wednesday?
Right.
A little bit. Ideally, you want somebody that is going to be out there that is has the ability to be out for 2 weeks at a time, 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and then come home and stay for a weekend, and then go back out. Yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. So it's not. Truck driving is not for the faint of heart.
So let me ask you this. So if you book me to take some ball bearings from here to, let's say, Arizona, am I only getting paid for that set route? So I'm not getting paid to go there and then come back. I'm just getting paid that fee just to go.
Yeah, and that's why I say you don't want to deal with somebody that has a whole lot of restrictions, because if they have open availability, you book that load coming out of Columbus going to Chicago, Illinois. From Chicago, Illinois, then I book a load down to Nashville, Tennessee. Then from Nashville, Tennessee, I go over to Charlotte, North Carolina. And then from Charlotte, I'm taking them up into Philly. And then from Philly, I'm bringing them back to Columbus so we can chill for the weekend. You got to have that. You got to be able to move. Those restrictions will kill a dispatcher. It will kill your money.
Wow.
You say you want $5,000 a week. Don't tell me you need to be home. Don't tell me that, because come Thursday, I'm trying to find your load that's going to get you as close to possible as where you're saying you need to be for the Friday morning drop. And then Friday, I'm trying to find you a load that you can pick up in that area and then sit tight over the weekend, not have to drive the whole weekend to get wherever the load needs to be on Monday. So, like, there's a lot of different components that you got to come together with. Like, okay, so he's coming to Columbus and he doesn't want to drive. You know, he's only got certain hours to drive, too. We didn't even touch on that, but there's, like, rules for how many hours they can drive on the road.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
So you get them to, you know, get them up to Columbus, or you get them a load. Say they're coming up from south, you get them a load to Louisville, Kentucky on Friday that's picking up, but they need to be in Columbus for the weekend.
Yeah.
So they pick up the load from Louisville, and the load is dropping on Monday in Pittsburgh, maybe, right? So what you're getting paid for is the mileage from Louisville to Pittsburgh, but your driver wants to come home, so he's really driving from Louisville to Columbus. He's sitting with the freight on the truck. And then Monday morning, he's got to get up early to drop between whatever the window is. Say it's 9 a.m. to noon in Pittsburgh, in time to drop on time so we don't get penalized. And then he drops on time. And when he's there, while he's there or on his way there, I'm looking for a load to pick up out of Pittsburgh to keep him going.
Okay. That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting it.
Okay.
It's a lot. I couldn't do it.
It is a lot. But once you get it, it's fun. I love it. I mean, it's like piecing together a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's route planning, load management.
I mean, I could do what you're doing. I couldn't do the driving.
Oh no, I'll never do the driving.
Yeah.
I'll never do the driving. And when I teach my class, I allude to in the class all the ways that I have figured out to make money in this industry without having to buy a piece of equipment. Because I don't just do this. I do a DOT specimen collection. And that's for those that are coming out of CDL training and they need to get their drug test for whatever job or whatever whatnot. They can come to me and I can take saliva or a hair sample, or I'm sorry, saliva or a urine sample.
Okay.
And you partner with a lab, and you can do that too individually. So there's something called being an escort driver. You ever seen those wide load trucks or wide load loads that are bigger than the actual flatbed it's on, and it says oversized load, and then you see somebody in front flashing a truck that like a pickup truck, and then you see somebody that's pulling up the rear doing the same thing. Yeah, those are called escort drivers, and you make great money escorting oversized loads to the state of Ohio.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot that you can do that does not require you to have to go and get a truck.
Okay.
So, and all of it is felony friendly because you're starting your own service.
Wow.
So it's just like, get the information out. And that's why I just want to get the information out. Show people how to do this.
Good information. So, Ms. Perry.
Yes, sir.
Where can people, are felons coming into re-entry, those coming out, and anybody else, where can they get in touch with you?
I would say probably the easiest way is to just go to the website, www.perrylogisticsdispatch.com.
And you can get at me through the website. It sends an email to my email inbox. You can find me on TikTok, Perry Logistics Dispatch. You can find me on Facebook, Tomiqua Perry, MIQPERRY. And then I have a YouTube page too, which I haven't visited in a while either, so you guys could. That would be great. Where I'm just, both on TikTok, all the social media is just little bits of information to get you, engaged. It might pique interest. I'm just dropping seeds so the right person can hear it. And then if it sparks something in you, reach out to me. Right. But the YouTube page too, all of it is Perry Logistics Dispatch. And you'll get some information and get a feel for what I do on a day-to-day, especially on TikTok.
Tomiqua, thank you so much for sharing your story, your insights, and especially your vision for empowering others through logistics. It's been such a pleasure having you here on the Elephant Wisdom Podcast. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in today. We hope you found motivation, inspiration, and a reminder of what's possible when we dedicate ourselves to growth and new opportunities. This is the Elephant Wisdom Podcast. This is your podcast, your go-to for motivation, inspiration, and domination. As you go through today and each and every day, remember that each day is made to be dominated. So dominate or don't, it's up to you. And while you're on that journey, don't forget to pray along the way. Faith and persistence are powerful partners on the road to success. Thank you again for being with us, and until next time, make sure to dominate.